is out at Moscow's Red Square. He joins us now live. And Phil, once Putin is back in the Kremlin, many are suggesting that this will not be like his first two terms. His authority may be diminished somewhat.
Yeah, indeed, John. This is a presidential election like no other in recent Russian history. It takes place against a backdrop of unprecedented challenges to the authority of Vladimir Putin in the form of the opposition protest movement that has seen tens of thousands of people coming onto the streets. So while we know that Putin's going to return, what sort of president will he return as? To discuss this, I am joined by Igor Khokhlov from the Russian Academy of Science. And I'd like to ask you, Igor, to thank you for joining us. What sort of president do you think Vladimir Putin will be this time round? Will his authority be weaker than it has been in the past?
Definitely. The Russian political system has been built around the figure of Vladimir Putin as the cornerstone of it. And definitely mass protests weaken his position in society and in the bureaucratic system. But also we have to understand that the country has changed a great deal for the last 12 years. When Putin first got into power, first as prime minister and then as president. And the president himself hasn't changed that much.
Well, that's going to be my next question. We've seen the change here in Russia on the streets of Moscow. Tens of thousands of people saying they're not satisfied with how things are. Is it possible, you think, that Putin could change, could offer reforms that may appease that angry middle class?
We have to understand that the situation back 12 years ago when Russia faced default economic crisis is pretty much different, not only due to the increase in oil prices. Russian economy was booming till 2008. And the recent economic challenges, actually, they displaced the middle class that grew in those early 2000s. In this case, it's very hard to predict the situation. So if oil prices hit 300 per barrel tomorrow, life will be great again.
But do you think that Putin will be softer this time round, or will he return to what some call his more authoritarian instincts?
What we see now that President Medvedev is introducing some kind of political reform, and we know that Putin and Medvedev is basically one team. Now it will be easier to start up a party in Russia, and maybe some political reform will change. But I think in this case the situation has gone too far. So the demand for change, the need for change in Russian society is growing. So it looks like a boiler with steam pressure building up in it.
Igor Khokhlov, thank you very much. John, the result in this election is essentially known. It's been described as a fact in waiting, but really that only refers to a very small part of this story, because there is still so much more to be decided upon in the coming days ahead. How will the Russian people react to that result? And then how will Vladimir Putin, the likely president, respond to that? Back to you.
Okay, Phil, thanks so much. Phil Blэк live for us.